So both the Rams and the 49ers are off to a hot start in the 2023 NFL season. However, they get to play in a pivotal division rival match in just week 2. These are going to be my preview and predictions for that game. Let's get into the video. So I first want to start off this video going over both of the games that they just had, because that's really all the data points that we have for this season. We did have a preseason of 3 games. However, both these teams don't really play their starters much. Neither do a lot of teams at this point. So this is going to be the first look that we have actually had at both these teams playing, in a real game where it matters. So the Rams played the Seahawks in a game that matters more than the 49ers versus Steelers game because it is a division match. So when it comes to tiebreakers at the end of the year, having that good division record is going to matter a lot. So beating the Seahawks is better than just being an AFC opponent. And also having the conference win as well is better than the 49ers getting the Steelers win over the Steelers. Now, I'm not saying that the Rams are better because they beat a division opponent, but I do think the Seahawks are a better team. The Seahawks made the playoffs last year, and everyone thought that they could possibly be 10-7 or possibly, compete with the 49ers for the division this year. However, as we see here, I think the Rams are a better team. I've been saying that I think the Rams are a better team throughout the whole off season, and now people are finally just getting to see that. So let's go over the stats. So Matthew Stafford was actually graded number 2 by PFF in terms of quarterbacks this week, and for good reason. He completed 24 out of his 38 passes for 334 yards, an average of 8.8 yards per throw, which could be better, but he was pretty much just precise with his throwing. And he had a QBR of 89 and a rating of 91. So very stellar play from Matthew Stafford. He didn't have any touchdown throws. However, that's because Kyren Williams and Cam Akers were able to punch in 3 touchdowns of their own. Now, here's something that is a bit concerning. Cam Akers only had about 1.3 yards per carry, and he actually had a run go for 12 yards. So if you take away that 12-yard run, he's less than a yard per carry. He did get that one nice touchdown on the pitch, and that run for 12 yards was good. But other than that, he was getting stuffed in the backfield a lot, and Kyren Williams was much more decisive with where he wanted to go and his cuts. So I'm hoping if you're a fantasy manager for Cam Akers, I probably wouldn't be playing him. I'm a fantasy manager for him. Was excited for him, but it's looking like that's not going to be, something that we're looking at for week 2. In terms of receiving, Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua broke some records this weekend. I believe they're the youngest players to both have over 119 yards. Tutu Atwell had 6 receptions for 119 yards and 19.8 average. He had a long of 44, and he had a few different bombs down the field, which is very good. He had 8 targets, caught 6 of them. Puka Nacua had 10 receptions for 119 yards, and which was the most for any Rams rookie, passing Cooper Kupp for the most yards in their first game as a Ram, as a rookie. He did have 15 targets, and he could have actually, caught a few more of these balls, but he didn't end up doing that. But if he did, he could have been over 150 yards easily. Tyler Higbee had a few very, very good catches as well. On the defensive side of the ball, Ernest Jones had 3 tackles for loss, which is very solid. Byron Young, Aaron Donald, Michael Hoyt, and Kobe Turner combined for 2 sacks, and they got a lot of pressure on the QB. They didn't exactly grade well in terms of PFF, but that's probably because of the first half not being as good. With the Seahawks, we held Geno Smith to 112 yards passing, and I think that's going to be a massive thing against the 49ers this week. But Kenneth Walker did kind of run all over us, which is going to be a problem for us this next week with Christian McCaffrey. But in terms of the 49ers game, Brock Purdy had a very solid game, throwing 2 touchdowns to Brandon Ayuk. Christian McCaffrey had a few big runs, one for 65 yards. Brock Purdy had a run for 17 yards. Christian McCaffrey had a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk going for 129 yards. Deebo Samuel also pitching in for about 55 yards of his own. And they terrorized Kenny Pickett. They had 2 interceptions, which honestly shouldn't have even happened, but Kenny Pickett was trying to force stuff. But they did have 5 sacks and 8 tackles for loss as a team. So their defense looked very solid. Their offense looked like it was clicking on all cylinders. I'll say the 49ers whooped on the Steelers. However, the Steelers are a worse team than the Seahawks, and they won 30-7. We won 30-13. Very similar, and we had a much harder opponent to deal with. Now, Going into the game, I like to go to PFF just because they have some interesting stats. For PFF's numbers, the 49ers are ranked 3rd overall. This is only with 1 week of data. The defense, 49ers are ranked 1st, 7th on offense. We're ranked 5th on offense, and then we're ranked 24th on defense and 16th overall. Now, the defense absolutely killed it in the second half, but if we're looking at both halves, obviously the Rams defense kind of had to shake off some rust, so that's kind of where a lot of this 24th is coming from. Now, taking a look at our quarterback comparison, Matthew Stafford has a 91 grade, and Brock Purdy had a 73 grade. And if we take a look, we both run about 50% of the time and pass about 50% of the time, but the 49ers were obviously a little bit more effective with their running. Now, if we take a look at the green line, PFF has this game at about 7.2. So if you're looking at that, -8 or +8 spread, that favors the Rams a bit. Whenever it's like +7.5 or more, I always tend to go with the team that's plus money just because you get a whole touchdown. So I definitely like the Rams there. I actually put $50 on the Rams this week on the money line, which will pay out about $200 if I do hit. So we'll see. PFF gives the 49ers a 77% win or 74% win probability. The Rams a 25% win probability as well. So that's what we're looking at. Best bets, like I said, they give the edge to the Rams at +8. Now, if we take a look at the lineups, we can see here that the Rams have a very solid, a lot of green, a solid offense. Matthew Stafford ranking number 2 in terms of quarterbacks with his stellar play week 1. It obviously has Kyren Williams as the running back here because Cam Akers is apparently a ghost and non-existent at this point. 20th, and then also our wide receivers, Nakua ranked 5th out of all the wide receivers this week. Tutu Atwell ranked number 8. So very solid to see there. Van Jefferson absolutely laying an egg. We'll see if he can bounce back this next week against the 49ers. Our line played very well. Alaric Jackson, we didn't let in any sacks. I forgot to mention that. No sacks were allowed. Steve Avila played very good. I don't know how he's the 22nd. I could have swore he was a top 10 guard this week. Coleman Shelton actually played very good, 6th center. No Boom played okay, and Havenstein played good as well. Tyler Higbee being the 10th ranked tight end in terms of PFF as well. So here's the thing about the 49ers. I don't think we're going to be able to run on them at all. Their defensive line is just stacked with Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave. All these players are perennial good players. Now, I didn't think that, however you say his first name, Farrell, was going to be too big of a deal. But this could be because the Steelers just absolutely crapped the bed. But he played well. Now, Fred Warner actually didn't have his best game, ranked the 42nd, linebacker this week, but he's always going to be a problem. And then, honestly, I see a bit of a problem here for the 49ers with Lenore. I think, Puka Nacua can expose him, and Tutu Atwell can as well. But I'm very high on Travarius Ward. I think he's a very good cornerback and a veteran at this point. And their secondary is good. So, personally, I think that the Rams are going to have to pass well in this game, or else we're not going to have a chance because I don't think we're going to be able to run too well. Now, if we take a look the other way around, the Rams defense was hit and miss. Aaron Donald had his worst grade, I think, probably ever. He was ranked the 44th D lineman, but he's always going to be a problem, just like Fred Warner. Maybe sometimes they don't have the best game, but Aaron Donald's always going to bounce back. Now, I actually liked how Kobe Turner played in this game, and I also liked how Byron Young played in this game, ranked number 50 in terms of edge defenders, and he was getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Now, Darian Kendrick and Keller Witherspoon did not play well in the first half, but they played very well in the second half. So I'm hoping that that can translate and carry that momentum into the next game. Ernest Jones, I thought, played amazing at 3 tackles for loss, and this PFF grade's a little bit, biased, I think. But Russ East played very well. Our safeties played very well. Jordan Fuller, and we also have John Johnson in the back as well. Now, here's where I think that we can really pick them apart, is that their line is not that great, guys. Now, they do have Brandon Ayuk, who played very well, as well as Deebo Samuel, who always kind of torches us. But George Kittle didn't play well last week either. And their line is pretty abysmal, guys. And I think that's where we're going to be able to take advantage. If Aaron Donald can come in there and Byron Young can get in there, and we can get a few sacks on this team, I think we're going to be putting pressure on the 49ers. And guys, we're at home. Brock Purdy going to get a lot of pressure coming from this Rams defense, I'm thinking. But the only thing I'm a bit scared of is Christian McCaffrey. He's able to just absolutely blow a game open. So is Deebo Samuel. So is Brandon Ayuk. These guys can just get big plays, and that's where I'm afraid. If we can limit those big plays, I think the Rams are going to win. But if Christian McCaffrey has a 50-yard run and Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel has like a 30-yard touchdown that just demoralizes us, I think that's where we lose. But personally, I think it's going to be a field goal to touchdown game either way, and I think that the Rams are going to squeak this one out by a field goal. So that's going to be my prediction. I think the Rams are going to win, let's say 27-24. So that's personally where I'm at with this. What are you guys at? Comment down below what you guys think will happen. And on Saturday, I'll come out with more of a bold prediction video. But for now, I think the Rams are going to win 27-24. Let me know if I'm crazy. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.